Tell us your story. Welcome to Author Ecke. Hi, I'm Travis Davis, your host. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Author Ecke. Today, I have Amber Boudreau, and because I lived in Louisiana at one time, I can actually say that last name. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, talk about herself, and then we're going to just get into discussion about, I'm pretty interested in the book that she already wrote and is out, and her next endeavor, which will be out very shortly. So Amber, take it away.
Hi, thanks, Travis. Hi, everybody. Yeah, my name is Amber Boudreau, and I write youth and adult fantasy books. I've written a book about dragons called The Dragoneer, and I also, which is for young adults, and I've written a book for adults, Second Nature, which is more werewolves and shifters. So, and the next book that I have coming out comes out October 3rd, and it is a sequel to The Dragoneer. So I'm excited about that coming out and people getting a chance to read it and sharing it with everybody.
So based on your background, I read you're a geologist or into geology. Is that correct?
Yeah, I studied geology at university. I got a BS degree in undergrad in geology, and then I went on to get a master's in it as well. So yeah.
Did you dig up something that said, I'm going to write a book about dragons? Did you find a dragon? Come on, you can tell us if you found a dragon.
I would totally tell you. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had. I wasn't that kind of geologist, as they say. I studied more landforms and to get super nerdy, like quaternary geomorphology, if anybody's really interested. So that's like the last 10,000 years or so of geologic time, and mainly dealing with like glaciers and stuff like that. So but that almost feels like another life now. It was just kind of so long ago. But
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I am glad I met Amber because I've decided to go back to school, and one of the classes I have to take is geology.
Oh, awesome! They're going to have you identifying rocks and minerals. It's going to be great.
In my next book I'm writing, I actually talk about a meteor crater. The thing is, it's kind of centered around a meteor crater.
That's awesome. I think that's great.
In the Congo.
We have those.
I know, they're all over.
Yeah, there's a site in specifically I can think of because I've been there. There's a site in Indiana, it's Kentland Quarry, and it is let's see, at the time our instructor was like, this supposed meteorite impact site, and she's like, I think we can just get rid of the supposed. All right, it's a meteorite impact site. Yeah. That's what it is. So yeah, it's really interesting visit. Yeah.
So what motivated you, or how did you come up with the idea for your first book and then your subsequent novels that you write? Because writing fantasy, you got to have a pretty good imagination for that, because there's things in there that I can't spell. So how did you come up? Tell us about your writing style. What kind of motivates you?
Thanks. I appreciate that. There's when you're looking for a character names, don't you just do like a keyboard smash and that's your fantastical?
Only ones I can spell.
That's how you name your characters. I'm telling you, that's right. That's it right now. I mean, actually we spend a terrible amount of time on baby name websites. So I just mentioned that the other day.
Well, it's good to know that babies are named after dragons.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool. Definitely. So yeah, my first book that I wrote was The Dragoneer, and it took me several rewrites. It was not like, I'm going to write this story. And I wrote it and it was done. Mm-hmm. It did not work that way. At least not for me. I'm not sure exactly how long, but definitely on the scale of years.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I've heard that before.
Yeah, it was not a one and done, like quick thing. It was at first, I think when I had finally typed the end, it was like, I can tell you it was like 55,000 words, which was about 20,000 words light.
Yes.
So yeah, so I had to go back and do some rethinking and add some scenes, and that helped move the story along. I also it went through, several people saw it. I have a couple of critique groups, a couple of writing groups that I belong to, and other people had saw it and commented. And then I went the extra step of getting a developmental edit done as well. So,
Mhm.
and I took all that feedback and scraped it together, and then,
Mhm.
you know, did another rewrite, because that's what you do.
Right.
So, and eventually, yeah, I was able to find a publisher,
Mhm.
Dragon Street Press, who was interested in it. I think I wonder if the name had anything to do with it, but
You never
they
know. They're probably getting copyrights and trademarks and
that's
everything. You never know.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. I was like, all right, Dragoneer, Dragon Street Press sounds like a good
Perfect.
match.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
So and they came to me, and so the Dragoneer came out in 2020. So yeah, that's how the first book
Excellent.
came about. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And so I think as a writer, you sort of, you're always, you know, keeping what works and getting rid of what doesn't. So
Yes.
it was very interesting to sort of take what I had learned, have another idea, and then just be able to sit down and write about werewolves.
Do
So
you outline, or I'm what they call a pantser author?
sure.
I don't outline. I just write.
Yeah. Um, I always like to think I'm a bit of a combination of the two, a pantser or a plotter, as they say, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read somewhere one time, or somebody said, if you want to write fast and well, maybe you should have an outline. And I was
Right.
like, well, I definitely want to write fast, and I definitely want to
Right.
write well.
Right.
So let's see how that works. So I will have an outline that I'm working from, but it's definitely, I definitely don't have any fear of deviating from that outline
Oh
and
no.
chucking
Yeah.
it and
Oh
chucking
yeah.
it and then having a different outline and moving forward that way. So yeah, it's some combination of the two for me. You're just you're a total pantser.
I think so. So I'll do a mind map of the book
Okay.
as before and as I'm writing it, because I want to make sure that if I say something, an action somewhere,
Yeah.
that an action has to be completed by somebody or
Yes.
something. So I just want
Yeah.
to make sure of all that. I wrote my first novel in 6 weeks. So it was, I don't know how. I don't even know that. I think I knew that many words. So,
Yeah.
and then this one, what I'm writing now, I started writing after that one, and I'll be done. I anticipate, and then next week, the initial, draft. I'll go through it.
Yeah.
I like to print it out and read it
Mm,
in pieces, because then I can make all the annotations and everything, and then go
yeah.
back and do it. Then have somebody read it, and go through that whole iteration.
Yeah.
Yep. I started 1st of March, and I had a publisher in the middle of April.
Oh, excellent.
So, but
I,
but I think I was still married at that time, and I'm still married now. I just didn't see
phew,
her.
wait a
I
second.
just didn't
I
see
was
her.
like,
I
whoa.
just didn't see her. No, because
Oh, geez. Yeah.
she was over there looking at me. What are you doing? You're pecking away. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No
So how's your
kidding. Yeah.
family? How'd your family take it? It's you got to dedicate some time, just like I am going to write 20 words today, because you'll never be done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Writing that fast in 6 weeks, that reminds me of like NaNoWriMo. Have you ever participated?
No.
No, yeah, NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. It's a thing. It's,
Okay.
and it's usually the month of November, and it's a
Mhm.
commitment to get 50,000 words in 30 days.
Oh, I
Let
can
me
do
tell you, that breaks down to about
that.
1,600,
A day.
plus words a day, which is like more than three times my normal amount that I can
Right. Right.
actually reliably get. And
Right.
yeah, I was like, I can't write a novel in a month. Are you crazy? Well, let me tell you, 2020 happened,
Mhm.
and it's
Yep.
like, well, I'm not doing anything anyway.
Might as
So
well write.
yeah, so yeah, and I did it, and so I've done that process, and let me tell you, I get the idea of NaNoWriMo. Like I think I've said this before. It's like it's sexy, right? It's like you
Mhm.
get 50,000 words in like a month. And what it really does is just help you with the consistency that you need to write every day.
That
and
makes
and
sense.
sure, you can take maybe a break for weekends. I don't know if you want to have like a family life. I
Right.
don't know.
Right.
But it's really that getting your butt in the seat and getting the words on the page that is really, I think that's what it really helps with, regardless of whether you get 1,600 words or 500.
Right.
So that's how I've done it, is like a little bit at a time every day. I
Yeah. I
typically
saved a
start.
bunch of money in that 6 weeks, because we didn't go anywhere. So I saved a
Oh,
bunch of money.
yeah.
I
Didn't go
wanted to
anywhere.
knock
Didn't
it
do
out.
anything. We're good. Yeah. 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 I'm familiar. So
So what
yeah.
about your next book?
Although,
This the second book.
yeah.
Tell us about how that one came about, and I want to know about the one you're gonna next month, like two
Oh,
weeks or a week or two.
yeah, less than 2 weeks is the next one comes out. Yeah. Second Nature, yeah, it came. I was just like, I had an idea. I was like, what about, I like werewolves. I read fantasy, obviously.
Mhm.
So I'm a fan of that genre. I was like, what, first of all, is there any thing that I could do with it that would take it in a different direction?
Oh yeah.
Stuff that we don't already know. And so it sort of came in to not just werewolves, but also into shifters. So I have other characters who don't necessarily change into werewolves, but they change into other animals. So including my main character, who when we catch up with her at the beginning, this is also, I guess, people I only heard this recently. I really want to write an amnesia novel. I was like, really? Does anybody really want to write one of those? And then I realized that I had written one. So because Mavis doesn't
Oh
actually
wow.
remember who she is. Yeah, we
Ah.
catch up with her about 6 months after she's woken up out of a coma, and she doesn't remember who she is. She's sort of made peace with that, but she's got a job. She's got friends. But then all of a sudden she's getting kind of drawn into this conflict with the werewolves. And so in this case, in my book, the werewolves are out. They've sort of revealed themselves to society, and everybody knows about them. And so people are sort of dealing with that. But just come to find out that their leader, their alpha of all the alphas, or the alpha wolf, went missing, and she might know what happened to him. So
Oh wow. Don't give
she's
away the plot. That's
I know
cool.
she's it's a bit of a genre blending, a little bit of a mystery there, as
Right.
well as urban fantasy. So yeah.
A
So that's
town
how
of
second.
werewolves.
Say that again.
A town of. I bet there are razor blades everywhere.
Interesting. Wow, interesting. It's not necessarily a town of werewolves, but yeah, definitely there's
That's cool though. That's
yeah.
a whole new spin on it.
Kind of, yeah. I'm definitely a fan of those urban fantasy type books that have those characters in them. So yeah,
So you're not afraid at
yeah.
night. You're not afraid at night. Walking around in the
Me?
dark.
No, 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 maybe. I think a little fear is healthy, or
Oh, of course.
yeah.
So what
It
about
comes in
the one
handy.
coming out? Tell us about that one. That seems pretty cool.
Sure. The next one coming out is the sequel to the Dragoneer. It picks up right where the Dragoneer ends.
Mhm.
My publisher is calling it a standalone sequel, so you don't necessarily need to have read the first one to jump right in with the
Mhm.
second. But I don't look. It comes out in 2 weeks. I haven't even got a poster yet, but I do have a picture. I would love to share that with you, of the cover.
I love
Um,
that.
it's called The Dragoneer and the Pretender, and it should be out October 3rd, where where all fine books are sold, but especially Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
So
That is a beautiful cover.
yeah, they did a great job on that. It's great. Yeah, so like I said, the sequel picks up right where the other one drops off. It's a portal fantasy. So our main character, Moira Noble, is traveling with Zephyr, her dragon, to where Zephyr came from, so that they can get there, so that they can rescue their friends. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
It's a
they
feel
sort
good
of
book.
yeah, yeah, totally. A little bit of an on the road adventure type book too, because they can't just magically show up where they need to be.
And a
They have to
dragon has to
actually.
fly. I mean, come on, a dragon just can't sit there.
Oh, you're not gonna like my dragon because he doesn't fly.
It
Come
doesn't
on,
fly.
he does not. He's not one of those. He's not one of those dragons. He's more of a battle dragon. He does not
Ah,
fly. Mm. Yeah, he's
right.
good with a sword though, and his tail is pretty cool.
Oh, wicked, huh? Oh, yeah,
Pretty,
cool.
pretty
So
wicked.
that's a standalone sequel,
Yeah.
and I assume you're probably thinking of something else to jot down.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I actually that's what I'm writing right now, is working on the third one for the Dragoneer. So Yes, hopefully that'll be out sometime. It's very new. It's like not even 10,000 words yet, but
Right.
I think, again, you just keep chipping away at it, and hopefully I'll
When do
get
you like
there.
to write? Do you like to write in the morning, the evening, the afternoon? When do you find time to write? What's your most creative?
I don't know if it's most creative, but
Yeah.
I like to get up and write. So usually,
Mhm.
typically very early in the morning before my kids are up and
Right.
before the day starts and people have to get to work and stuff like that. That's when I try to get some words down. And if I come back to it later in the day, great. If
Mhm.
not, I can be like, well, I wrote today, so that's good.
Do you
Yeah.
write the
So.
do you write the end before the middle?
Oh no, I'm one of those. No, I'm one of those terribly straightforward. I just go through and write the whole thing in order, and it's awful.
Uh,
Do you? Do you go to an order? Or do you write
I
different
do.
parts?
I do.
Yeah.
So what I do is like, to me, I have to get I'll write, but I'll rewrite the beginning because I have to write the beginning where somebody will catch them quick. And
Yeah.
then I'll write the ending, but it won't be the one that I use. It
Oh,
just allows me to think and
yeah.
to look at things because as the characters evolve in the book, then I'll evolve the ending of it. Because in the first book, the only book I've ever written, Flames of Deception, there was actually at the end I had an amnesia chapter in there. It was all. Then I said, oh,
Oh,
okay, let me change it around. So I added something else. So I'm thinking about maybe putting just the second ending out as a separate
hmm.
that somebody could switch. Oh, go here now. I could read this ending and see how it ends up. Just
Interesting.
as a put it out there for you whatever I don't care. So
Yeah.
that, but yeah, I don't. And I like to write in the morning. I like to walk. I like to walk like 5 miles in the morning.
Oh wow.
Get done like 8, and then I'll sit in the backyard. I live in Texas, so the weather's beautiful, and I just sit down and I'll start typing until about 10:30,
Oh wow.
and then by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'm like, oh, okay, my mind is jello. So I just kind of do something else, and then I thought of this podcast. I said, well, because I didn't know anything about what was the hardest thing that you find outside of writing the book
Mm.
to get it out?
Ooh. Um. Yeah.
I think
You're
writing's the
talking
easy part.
what? Say that
I
again. It
think
makes
I
me.
think I think the writing is the easy part.
Yeah, after a while you're like, yeah, I'd almost like give anything to just go back and write, and you're like, oh
Yeah,
good.
right,
Which
right,
is good. Hang on to that feeling for another time.
right.
But yeah, I think the marketing and the promotion is not my favorite. But there was, yeah, I've queried agents, and
Mhm.
I mean, you don't even get a thanks but no thanks. You get ghosted, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, you
Yep.
don't. We read all our queries. I'm like, do you?
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh
I never
yeah.
heard from you. Yeah.
Put Tom Clancy at the end of it. They'll read it.
Oh really? Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. That yeah. So yeah, I definitely got led to publishing in a circuitous or in a non-traditional way because I
Mhm,
found my publishers on Twitter.
mhm.
Actually, I think
Oh wow, interesting.
I pitched, I think it was Pit Mad or one of those events like that where I pitched Dragoneer, and Dragon Street Press liked it, and I ended up querying them, and um, that's how we came today. Actually, there was another step to that because I think they
Mhm.
said at the time they were like, we are looking for novels that are 70,000 words or more,
Mhm.
and mine was, I think, like just under or something like
Mhm.
that at that time. Of course,
Yeah.
it's gotten bigger now, gotten longer
Right. Right.
since. But I remember questioning that. I was like, well, it's this many words. Is that okay? And and they said, yeah, send it along. So I mean, you definitely want to follow those guidelines, submission guidelines,
Yes.
and absolutely to the T, obviously. But I that was one there. I was actually once had some back and forth, and it actually worked out. So that was good. And then the same thing with Second Nature. I think I tweeted something during a pitch
Mhm.
session,
Mhm.
and my other editor for Second Nature, Gen Z Publishing, liked it, and I queried them, and they're like, yes, but they got to send the full manuscript request, and so yes, so I'm
that's something what I did, I guess. I just looked on the internet and I sent it to one, talked to one, sent it to another. I got a reply, and then I was in Houston for work, and they're the Defiance Press, the publishing is based out of Houston, Conroe,
cool.
north of Houston. So I said, I'm gonna go by, this is because it's a big deal, right? So I'm gonna go by and check them out. So I went by, drove up on the way back home, and stopped and met Dave, basically the owner, the president of the company, and some other folks. And I said, well, you know what? I really like them. They had the same values that I have. So I said, shoot, I'm just going to go with it. And I'm hoping that they're going to publish this next one, because it's the sequel of the first one. Not a sequel. Well, I don't know, but I guess it's the same team, but different things. Yeah.
Does it take place in the same world?
It does. It does. Mine are like military espionage and thriller, and government espionage and thrillers and things.
Very cool.
But so marketing is definitely tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tough. You gotta market it. You gotta want to make it successful.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, the first step is, it almost seems like the easy part, even though all of us know that it's not the easy part, but It's like writing the best book you can, right? It's like, I've written the best book I can. Now I'm just trying to get people to read it. So
do you have any signings coming up or anything you want to tell the folks about, or where they can find you and check you out and follow you?
Absolutely. Yes. I will be at the Twin Cities Book Festival in Minneapolis on October 15th. So I will be there. I think it's from 10 to 5. It's an open event. There's no cost for anybody to come. Anybody can, it's free to enter. Everybody can show up. And I'll be there with Second Nature and Dragoneer, and hopefully copies of the Dragoneer and Pretender. But I'm on Twitter, as I mentioned. I'm on Instagram, and I have an author Facebook page as well. So I also have a website, author.boudreau.com, where there's an email there that people can get in touch with me through. So
What's your family thing?
Say that again.
What's your family thing? I'm interested. What's your husband and kids and your family in general?
They're pretty supportive. They're pretty supportive. Crazy? Does it make them crazy? I think a little bit. When I've done NaNoWriMo, they're like, seriously, it's Thanksgiving. What are you doing? I'm like, I have to get my words in for today. I'll eat the turkey later. So they
it'll be all right. It's always good with mayonnaise and bread, so it'll be all right.
Right. The leftovers are just as good. So they're mostly okay. I think the husband's proud of me, never fails to tell me how proud of me he is. And the kids, I think, they're a little young at this point. The 11-year-old kind of gets it, and she's like, can I read this one? And I was like, yes. Like,
my granddaughter said the same thing. She's 7. She says, I'm gonna read your book, Grandpa. And she looked at it, she goes, those are big words, I can't read that yet.
Nice. Someday, baby girl, someday.
That's right. Yes. So when you told your friends you were going to write a book,
sure,
what was their response? Because sometimes they're like, okay, we know you, that
bold of you to assume I told anyone that I was writing a book.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I never. I don't think I'm not one of those people who's like, guys, I'm gonna write a book. I think I'm just one of those suffer in silence types who's like, I'm gonna go over here. What are you doing on the computer? Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Look over there.
Look over there. Yeah, pay no attention. So I don't think they knew that I had written a book until I was, querying and pitching and that kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Because in part because it did take me so long to finish it, but it got there. But in that meantime, I had started attending writing conferences, and I had joined my writers group. So there were people who knew that I was writing. They were my writing partners and things like that. But my family is like, yeah, you get that first, so what's it about? And you're like, dragons. And they're just like, okay. So
we spent all that money getting education, you're writing about dragons.
Right. I would like to remind them that I had a scholarship. So
see,
yeah.
you write about anything you want.
Right, definitely. Yes, it comes through. I feel like, uh, there are rocks play a role in definitely in the Dragoneer.
As they should.
Yes, and definitely landforms and nature and stuff definitely plays a role in both books. So yeah, definitely.
Well, see, I
You
screwed up and
mentioned,
told people. I told people.
oh, you told people.
And
Oh
once I
no,
told them,
then
I had to finish it.
yeah, then they had that expectation. Well, when are we going to read it? When yeah, when
Yeah.
do I get to hold it in my hot little hands?
I know. Are you
Right.
going to ask something? I'm sorry, y'all.
No, I was gonna ask. You mentioned Tom Clancy, so and you obviously writing these military thriller-esque novels. So are you reading that type of genre, or are you reading other stuff too?
I have to tell you. So I was in the Army,
Okay.
and I read Hunt for Red October, and I wanted to get out of the Army and join the Navy. That's
Wow.
an impact on, but I didn't. Thank God.
Okay.
But
I can't swim.
I do. I read him. I like Clive Cussler.
Okay.
And Dan Brown. So I would think my books are between a Tom Clancy and a Clive Cussler. I think there is a lot of stuff that is could be in real life.
Yeah.
From a technology and other perspective. But I put a kind of a Clive Cussler kind of humor, just not all seriousness in a book, right? So you can have fun as you're going through Russia, looking to what's going on with Russia and their oil fields. So you can have fun doing it. The whole team can have fun. So I think it's kind of both kind of those, and I like Dan Brown because everything in Dan Brown's books takes place in 24 hours.
It's true.
But not mine. But I just like reading that quick. It makes it go quicker. But,
Yeah.
I would say those two.
Cool. Excellent. I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Neat.
It's just interesting, and I do a lot of research for my books, so I will my book now, you could actually trace the entire operation that they went on in Russia and go to every place they went to. These are all real places.
That's cool. That's neat.
The whole thing.
I
not that I would recommend doing it right now. However, in the future.
I hope. Yeah, I've read a couple books like that where it's like we're mentioning real places here and like people can go to them. So yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. Excellent.
So I do like that. I only can make so much up. So.
Yeah, it helps. It's like I don't
know. Real.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Real.
So you got 2 out, 1 in the hopper.
Yeah.
And then you got 1 in the cranium.
And
starting to whittle at that one. So do you go for a word count, or you go until the thought is done?
Wow. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I do in the back of my mind have a word count that I'm shooting for. If I make it there, great. If not, I don't agonize over it, but I do go back and look like, well, maybe I should add another scene or something. But not necessarily. I will say, like, the NaNoWriMo, like the 50,000 words in a month, that seems light to me. So like I'm always usually way over 50,000 words. Not in that month. I get the 50,000 words by the 30th day, but like I'm usually writing for like another week or so after that, because I'm in the rhythm of writing.
There's a rhythm.
So
there is a rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I just keep going. So I typically 75, 80, those I seem to like those numbers. That's which typical novel length.
Yeah, you think over 50,000, I think 50,000 to 90,000 is a novel, is a fiction novel. And I think my first one was 83,000.
Solid.
And this one right now I'm at 81,000.
Ooh, you say right now, is it not done yet?
Oh, it's not completely done yet. I mean, I got it all in my mind. I just I have to take a break. Because my mind will like, oh man, this would be cool. Let me figure out where I can put this in here to make sense.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I came up with a whole new kind of spin to it.
Slightly dangerous, but okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, I live on the edge.
You're right. I mean, if you're not living on the edge, or you're taking up too much space.
That's
I knew
right.
somebody
That's
said
right.
that.
That's exactly correct. Well,
Right,
it's
maybe.
been a hoot meeting and
Yeah,
talking to you.
it's
And
nice
let's
talking to you
give
too.
give the names of your books again and tell us where to be and where everybody can find you one more time.
Sure, definitely. So I've got the Dragoneer, and the sequel of the Dragoneer and the Pretender comes out October 3rd. And then I also have, if you're into dragons, obviously, and then if you're like werewolves and shifters, then we have Second Nature. So, and that everything can be found on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. You can go to your local bookstore and have them order it for you. I'm sure they're available anywhere you would like to find it. So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Well, Amber, it's been a pleasure. I wish you the most success. And now I have a Christmas present for my grandson.
Yay! I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I might
Thank
read
you.
it first and just box it up later. I mean, you never know. Not like I would scribble in it or nothing.
That's right. They never know. I may have done that once or twice. So yeah.
Well, you guys look out for Amber and you look out for her books and go out there and check them out. And it would be a great Christmas gift because it's only like 90 some days away and you don't have to worry about supply chain. So it's something nice.
Man.
I know it's crazy.
Yeah, that is. I can't believe it's.
Well, thank you, Amber, and I appreciate it. And the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Travis. Nice talking to you.
Hey, thank you for listening. Join us next week for another episode of Author Ecke. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.